So well, let me go ahead and do an introduction again, though. Happy Wednesday to everybody tuning in with me on today. My live I was just doing a second ago kind of went out, but it was just very brief anyway. But it was getting kind of good, so I guess we'll go back and reiterate on it a little bit. When people have a guilty conscience, y'all, a lot of times they'll avoid you. They'll avoid you, they'll run away. The main thing they're running away from is accepting accountability. It kind of just shows the mentality or the mental state of the person with a guilty conscience. But having a guilty conscience isn't a bad thing. Hey, Josh, welcome in. Having a guilty conscience means that, well, in my opinion, having a guilty conscience means that there's a part of you that kind of wants to set matters straight, because if you didn't care at all, I don't think your conscience would really bother you. SBK, welcome in. Promise Child, welcome in. It's good to see y'all. Yeah, I was talking just a minute ago, y'all, but I went through a wooded area and my connection went AWOL. So I'm just trying to, wrap it up real quick. But I was just saying how, the manifestations of people with a guilty conscience coming from an immature soul versus a mature soul. And when a person is immature and they have a guilty conscience, they're not going to do what the scriptures say, meaning they're not going to try to set matters straight. They'll duck off. They'll avoid you. They don't want to accept accountability. They don't even want to talk about it. They'll eventually resurface hoping that you've forgotten about whatever the matter is, but that's just not how it works. All right. And again, not to make excuses, some people are just brought up that way. Hey, Tony, welcome in. I'm doing well. I hope you are too. Some people are, we are products of our environment. I'm sorry. And sometimes people, they kind of just, grew up. They weren't raised and certain things weren't instilled in them. And when you come from an environment where we sweep things under the rug, we don't talk things through, the last thing you're going to do as an adult is accept accountability, unless you do some thorough work on self. So immature soul, y'all, when they have that guilty conscience, they're not going to reach out. All right. They're just not going to reach out. But a person that's more mature, there is, again, it's different levels. When we're more mature and we have a guilty conscience, we tend to want to set matters straight. We tend to want to reach out to one another. Hey, Rob. Hey, Frugal Mama, welcome in. It's good to see you. Hey, Manuel, where you been? It's good to see you as well. If we confess our sins, he's faithful and righteous to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. This verse emphasizes the importance of openly admitting wrongdoing to receive God's forgiveness and purification. You're absolutely right, Proud Mixed Child. But again, some people, people with a more immature mind, they don't think that way. But you're absolutely right. It does emphasize the importance of openly admitting your wrongdoing. But a lot of people just can't do that. They can't accept accountability. They don't want to, because that means, oh man, I'm guilty. Well, even if you were, we need to be able to, stop fooling ourselves, accept that accountability, and try to make amends to move forward, because time isn't going to come and clean that up. Again, a more mature mindset having person, yeah, we want to talk about it. When you have a guilty conscience, honey, I'm not running from you. If I have a guilty conscience, I'm going to hit you up because it's bothering me. All right. It's going to irritate my spirit. If my conscience is guilty about anything I've done to anybody else, I'm imperfect. I fall short like everybody else. We all do. And so it's best, y'all, again, it manifests in different ways. So you can kind of tell what you're dealing with by how a person behaves and how they react. All right. That's just like if you owe me money. Okay. You owe me money and it's on your conscience. Oh, I haven't paid Shay back. Oh my goodness. This girl loaned me this $50 and I know she needs her money. You're feeling guilty, but you won't even call me. You won't reach out. You won't say, hey, Shay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, reach out. When you have that guilty conscience, don't run. Reach out to others, reach out. Because for one, it's going to make you feel better. And again, as Proud Mixed Child says, we need to admit these wrongdoings. We want to do things in a righteous way so that we have God's backing and we have his blessings in the manner. Because just because you're a friend of God doesn't mean you don't do things that are wrong. It doesn't mean that you don't do things where you'll have a guilty conscience. It's just we tend to know that, hey, you know what? Let me clean this up. Let me set matters straight with my brother. And that's what we should do. Don't go hiding and running from people when you have a guilty conscience. It's not mature of us to do so. And it can even be borderline aggravating for both parties, you know? So we want to be careful with that. The one covering over his transgressions will not succeed, but whoever confesses and abandons them will be shown mercy. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Hiding sin is futile. Yes, it is, because God sees all. Let me stop for a minute. Yeah, hiding sin is very futile, y'all. Listen, God sees it all. He sees everything. So we can't hide it. We're not benefiting. It's best to confess. Get that up off of your chest. Get that out of your psyche, because that's a load and it's heavy. All right. But acknowledging and turning away from it leads to mercy. God will have mercy on you. He will. But if we sit there and we're thinking that we think we're hiding it, because in actuality, we're not hiding anything, y'all. Let's set matters straight with people. Stop avoiding people and ducking and dodging and running because your conscience has you in a chokehold. That guilty conscience has you running. You should have been set matters straight with that woman. You should have been set matters straight with that man. You haven't talked to your brother in months, you know. God forbid, in relationships, intimate relationships, and you're running, you're ducking and you're dodging. You don't want to accept accountability. Y'all, don't let a guilty conscience hold you hostage. And I'm going to tell you the easiest way to get past it. Take it to God first. Take it to God first and admit that wrongdoing. Because what God is going to do is he's going to give you the courage. He's gonna be able to tap in and help you to be able, honey. God will give you the words to say. You hear me? He will give you the right words to say. He will calm that mind that is just struggling. That's just struggling with how to face people that you've done wrong. That adversary, y'all, and it doesn't matter what way or what it is that has us in a chokehold. He wants us to stay there. And having a guilty conscience will wear you down. A lot of times that guilty conscience comes from you not knowing whether or not the person that you caused injury to will forgive you. Don't worry about that. Another reason to go to God, okay? Because when we see God as a refuge, honey, he comes through and he helps and adjusts things on both ends. He'll have mercy on you and he's going to help you. That situation, honey, once you get through it, you'll be shaking your head like, why was I tripping? Why was I sitting around here avoiding that woman knowing doggone well? Or why was I avoiding her or avoiding this and avoiding that? A guilty conscience weighs you down. And a lot of y'all aren't hearing from people that have done you wrong because they have a guilty conscience and a more immature mindset. All right. They haven't gotten it into their minds. They haven't matured enough to think that, you know what, let me just reach out and go ahead and let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. No, they don't think like that. They don't think like that at all. There's so many estranged relationships, friendships, because somebody has a guilty conscience and they're so worried about what will